Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to game number 2 here from the North American scene. My name is hi-rez Shiny Jacket. This is hi-rez Dry Bear, and we are moments away from getting live with Thurst versus Cognitive Prime. Can the boys of Prime quench the thirst of the Ratchet Boys?
The Ratchet Boys have unending thirst. It is unquenchable at this point.
The unquenchable, unending thirst.
Unquenchable, unending thirst. And that's kind of what is happening here, right? Is that they're always looking for more instead of just looking for the easy win. And you see them a lot of times, they'll kind of be scattered around the map looking for something else. Kind of like that one more wave mentality where, they try to stay in the lane a little bit too long, or it just comes down to the fact that they don't have a strict understanding of how to make those small decisions.
They're a new
very
team.
Small decisions. They're right.
They're a new
it
team.
takes time.
They're a new team full of some old-time veteran pros. And they are having, they had to replace EMC right before the season because
Brochacho can't play 5 of the games.
He got banned, and Brochacho can't play in some of their games as well.
Right.
This game, I think in particular, Brochacho is getting subbed in for.
Right. Yeah. So
they've lost one of their players. They have to sub about a quarter of their games with another player. It's a tall task really for them to find their way into the Pro League, but Thurst, they've won a game so far at 1-2.
1-2, doing well.
Worse.
Again, the only other team besides what we saw previously, Exposed Secrets, who had only played 3 games so far. So they're a little bit less on the games played, but they're kind of catching up right now. Of course, they have it in the game today. So they're going to be playing against one of probably their least favorite targets to go up against. Of course, Cognitive Prime.
Nobody likes to play this team.
Cognitive Prime looking so sharp right now. I mean, of course, they are currently tied for first place with Cognitive Red, 4-1. So they have 5 matches, or 2 more matches than Thurst, and they also have won 4 out of those 5 total. So very, very strong performance. And you look at how Thurst has been playing so far. Can they actually pull out and win without that 5th player essence there?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but they're not the only team that's really struggling here.
No.
Dignitas, notably at the bottom of the list.
Well, let's check it out.
As are the Fat Chunks as well. I mean, all of them really looking to really move up here. But we do have the updated standings based on the game played earlier today. Cognitive Prime and Red still sitting pretty at the #1 overall spot. Prime, if they find another win, will move to the uncontested first. If not, we'll drop to second. Snipe at 3-3, having a 50% year so far. Good for them. Looking pretty nice in this season. Dignitas does rise at 2-4 into a lock on 4th place. Thurst with less games played than Chunks sitting at 1-2 in the 5th place spot. And the Chunks still having a bit of trouble. But they've also been playing some wildly strange stuff here.
Definitely.
A lot of assassin supports, a lot of off-brand stuff. Hell, they played Nuon on the duo lane, which is very strange.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, that was Fat Chunks, right? Fat Chunks was able to pull that over.
That's right.
Sam
The
Shrew.
Chunks, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Sam Shrew and the Fat Chunks wanted to
strange
do on the
stuff.
duo.
I mean, yeah, Fat Chunks kind of throwing out some innovation as well. I mean, Exposed Secrets going down the same road, but they've kind of since veered away from that. And it's weird, right? Because you look at the teams that are doing well now. I mean, I think after the first week, people didn't expect Dignitas to kind of come back and play the way they are, and then Coast after the NA or the EU Pro League kickoff land, of course.
Expected to do big things.
I mean, yeah, that's big things. Now they're 1-5. They have the worst record in SPL so far. Of course, it's not like game to game. They haven't all played the same amount, that kind of thing. But they're 1-5. That is incredibly difficult for Coast to come back from. So look at a team like Thurst looking 1-2. If they're able to win today, they bring down Cog Prime a peg and also get a victory for themselves, which makes a big difference for them overall. So I think all eyes are on Thurst here, and the other teams are really looking at Prime to just maybe close it out fast.
I don't know, man. This is Cognitive Prime is looking like the team to beat here. Red right there on their heels as well. I mean, between these two teams, the Cognitive organization, definitely the org to try and take down somehow. But going back to another, more tenured organization here in esports, Team Solo Mid. They did win the launch tournament and do have the TSM Apollo skin there. That does say skin, not
get your skin by September 9th.
But yeah, the skin is available only through September 9th. The next patch going out will remove that skin. You have this weekend to purchase it.
Right.
Proceeds do go to the TSM Invitational LAN event coming up in just a few weeks in Sweden. About $30,000 already contributed by you guys to that prize pool, so thank you very much for that. But we are hearing now that there is a substitution issue with Thurst, and they are going to have to, they got about 6 minutes to find an appropriate sub. If not, they will be forfeiting this game, guys. We're going to throw you to waiting screen for just a moment, but we will be right back, hopefully with the start of Thurst versus Cog Prime. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. It does look like Thurst was able to find their sub in time. It's Cognitive Prime versus Thurst, and the first ban coming out already. Ares banned out by Cognitive.
Yep.
I guess they know something about Solette.
I guess so. I mean,
Or Soleil, I guess it would be, but I'm going to call it
Brochacho
Soleil.
plays a lot of Ares as well, so maybe it's kind of like, Soleil, they're both friends, right?
Nah,
they know each
Soleil.
other, so they're able to kind of like come together and really just practice off each other, bounce ideas, and maybe they just both like Ares for some reason, or maybe it's more on the side of Jacob Malfoy or Nantan. Maybe they like having Ares on that side of the map. Who knows? We shall see as we go forward here. Giannis and Serket banned away. New Wa will be no longer in this match, and Ra is looking to be the first pick for Cog Prime.
So is it Solite, like elite, like internet talk? Is that what it's supposed to be?
1337.
So why is it LET? I'm so confused.
I'm
calling him Solette until he changes his name. Ra is
female name.
first picked by. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of girls out there.
So lit.
So well, you got to be that way. Jeff
So
Hinla's
that.
name is not Jeff Hinla.
It's true.
That's his friend, though. Ra first picked by Cognitive Prime here, likely to go the way of MLC Stealth, one of, if not the best mid lane Ra players that is, currently playing the game. On the right side here for Thurst, they're looking for their return picks. The Geb already highlighted, and, they're going to take a Nemesis as well.
That was
Your bands filing out Ares, Nua, Giannis, and Serket.
Jungkook?
Jungkook could be a
Imagine
pick
it's
here.
gonna be
It was played
Jungkook
well by
Apollo.
Omega.
Jungkook Apollo or Jungkook Ra? Ram.
Well, yeah, Jungkook Apollo. Yeah, Jungkook, and then whatever hunter they want to take seems
Ram.
highly likely.
Honestly, that's what they got here, right? Omega is actually picking out more Jungkook nowadays. It's available here. Now, again, it is in response to a Nemesis, so we may see some kind of thought like maybe we shouldn't do it, but it's still available here. So I imagine Apollo's just a guaranteed lock, and maybe Jungkook after.
Not banned either, Dry Barrel. Though it will be a little awkward to take Apollo and Merc here. You're really investing deeply into the physical,
Freya,
but
too.
yeah, Freya also a ban, which would have been interesting.
Anister loves Freya.
But Mercury can swing here, so I think that makes him the higher value pick because they haven't committed to their lanes just yet with the Mercury pick.
Well, Anister didn't lose a single match playing Freya in the qualifiers. He's very good at that character, but it looks like he's been electing to go for Mercury here. Then again, if you do have a Ra on your team, it does tend to help a lot, and Mercury against Nemesis versus Freya against Nemesis is a lot better, right? Because Nemesis is going to pop the shield, and Mercury's going to grab her, throw her into a wall, and beat her to death. Whereas Nemesis is going to pop the shield, and Freya's going to try and burn through it, while Nemesis ult and gets really close. So, Mercury's going to have also a good escape route with the ultimate versus Freya, who has maybe 55 feet to fly before she lands down again and gets bursted to death. So it's very difficult to kind of play that out.
Yeah, she runs at half movement speed over that period.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for those of you that were here when Freya had 100% move speed in her ultimate, you will remember the horrors and why it is now 50%. But Ao Guang going to be drafted by Thurst here, likely to go to the mid lane, almost 100% going to the mid lane for them. And the bans are back on, and Thurst pick Geb, ban Athena.
Ban Kronos.
Very, very standard strat on the side of Cognitive Prime. Yeah, will they ban out Kronos?
Kronos.
It has been a very, very popular solo laner, and definitely something can go toe-to-toe with Mercury if they
Oh, it
just put
hasn't
him
been
in solo
popular
lane.
at all. It's literally just Fusion buys Doomorb on Kronos and goes solo lane and somehow does well. No one can figure it out. It's scientifically impossible to prove why he's doing it or how he's making it work. But Fusion OP's been doing it, so maybe they ban it out here. Jungkook is still available, so they're going to ban it out. Looks like they have no intention of grabbing it up here. But then again, Fusion doesn't play any of the popular solos, so maybe they're just worried about him getting it and doing well.
Oh, what?
Well, fun fact, the HP5 is going away on the Hive, right? So it can't come back here. I don't know. It's weird. They're going to pick Kronos.
Do they want a solo lane Muzen?
Maybe.
Maybe that's what this is? I can't imagine they can put him in the Hunter role versus Apollo. He's just so outclassed.
I mean, Nantan is a diamond.
This is, by
AMC.
far, this is his favorite. I mean, this is like...
Yeah, it's his favorite
It's like
god.
drafting Anubis.
He's
It's like someone
diamond.
just loves it.
He's diamond AMC. He loves the character. I think this is going to be their hunter.
Dr. Beast!
Kronos locked in here. Bacchus locked in here for Jeff Sex. Hindla. We got Geb locked in for Thurst. I'm sorry, Habwa last. Geb swapping down. So the final lineup here for Thurst is going to be Nemesis, Habwa, Ao Guang, AMC, and Geb. Connor Prime has Mercury, Apollo, Ra, Kronos, and Bacchus. It's going to be a mid Kronos. I like it. I like it a lot. I don't like it against Ao Guang, but I like mid Kronos. I think it still works.
Yeah, why wouldn't it work? I mean, of course it works.
Well, he's been a solo laner for a long time. Why
Yeah,
regarded
he
as
has,
a poor
he has.
mid laner because he's pushed out? The thing is that if you're able to use the 3 and the 2 properly, you can clear the wave very
Yeah,
effectively.
you can clear the wave okay. I think it's maybe that it's a little bit of Hubwa syndrome, where you're like your ultimate is your only hope, and he just requires more positioning than Hubwa and doesn't have the same burst damage in the mid game, but carries harder late.
Right.
I think is why you see people leaning away from it. If you stick him in the solo lane, you can go for the Doom Orb a little bit safer and get that damage bit earlier and become a factor earlier in the game.
Sure.
But Stealth is a very, very potent Chronos, and Chronos has tremendous poke here to help deal with the Algong. That's one thing that he can do versus Algong is outpoke him. As long as he dodges the Squall, which, I mean, yeah, just dodge the Squall, easy thing to do, right? But if you do, you can get those time rifts underneath him and do the damage, and it starts to hurt really bad against Algong until he gets his Warlock or Ethereal online, at which case you force him into a defensive item and should be okay.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, it's going to be a very difficult late game as well. You got a hyper carry on either side. Actually, you have two hyper carries inside of Cognitive Prime. Chronos can be regarded as a hyper carry the way he scales. He scales much more aggressively than Hunters do. Plus, he has hyper mobility. Factoring that too, moving around. He's got a good AoE stun. He's got basically the size of Aphrodite's birds for an AoE stun that includes a slow component. Definitely a very powerful ability. Plus, he has one of the best, honestly, one of the best ultimates you can have as a hunter. Hey, let me undo everything you just did to me, and then start beating you to death afterwards. So
let me undo that thing, and I'll be all right. Well,
it's good,
but is this a little bit of just like we don't have a lot of faith in Solit, so let Nantan play Muzen this game?
Maybe.
Because one of those things, is it like it's going to be pretty tough to win this with a sub that we haven't practiced with. Let's just go ahead and let Nantan pick the B so he shuts up about it? Or are they thinking that he really has a big advantage here? I mean, there's no way you're picking him to go toe-to-toe with the Apollo and, he's going to do great.
Yeah.
But maybe they know something we don't. I mean, Muzen's good at things like objective clear with the honey damage over time is pretty high. Right. Is good against mobile gods like Apollo with the cripple, the long-duration cripple, and the ultimate, plus the burst he brings to the table a little bit higher than most other hunters.
Right.
Coupled with a Geb, maybe they can keep him fairly safe, but he's going to be a lot of trouble when Mercury comes a-knocking.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to kind of transition out of that, and that's going to be the point, like around 35, 40 minutes, Mercury starts to scale very aggressively. I mean, you look at the targets, I mean, he can take out Algong very quickly, Hobwa very quickly, even AMC, and like you're mentioning, AMC doesn't really have anywhere to run. I mean, he's going to pop his bees, goo the ground, and run away as fast as he possibly can, but the whole point of AMC and why he works as a character, everything below competitive, is that he's a good boxer. But boxing isn't really the best component in the game.
Yeah.
In team fight level, right? I mean, you can do great in the lane if you can box, and AMC's a fantastic boxer, one of the best.
Yeah.
The problem is that when you get to mid-stage and play against a competitive professional Smite team, they're not going to box you. They're just going to kill you.
I mean, maybe we're going to see DevGlove 1, Sprint 2 open or something like that to keep him safe?
Will he go Fatalis is the question, because that's the one item that you see built on AMC over
only
any
on
other
Muzen.
hunter. Only on AMC do you see the Fatalis picked up, just so he can actually move around. He doesn't have a jump. He doesn't have a dash. He doesn't have anything. So he gets the Fatalis so he can move and try to position himself better, so he doesn't have to commit to a fight so hard because he has no way to disengage once he's committed.
He does have something, and that is bees!
Bees!
He has bees.
He does have bees.
Will the power of bees overcome the power of music?
It must have been, what's this?
And the power of friendship.
The last damn match of the day?
This looks like a job for
Dr. Bees! Cognitive gaming on the Cognitive Prime here on the front screen. You're going to see Omegatron in the solo lane, Memel see Stealth in the mid lane, Indister in the jungle, Barracuda in the hunter role. Of course, Jeff the Sex Hinla on Guardian for Cognitive Prime. Their opponents, Thurst.
Thirst Gaming, wearing the tag Ratchet and that nice Aphrodite logo there. They are thirsty for that lady. No, now they're Cognitive Prime and probably going back to Thirst before we move on. There they are, the Thirsty Boys. And they are fighting out of the top side of the map. On the red team, on the right side of your spectator UI, they are Fusion OP in the solo lane. Jaco Malfoy will be your mid laner as Habwa. It's going to be Wolfie in the jungle as Nemesis. Nantan will be your hunter, playing as Muzenkob. And playing the role of Elbro Chacho in the Guardian today, it's Solet, or Solit, which I will call Solet for the rest of time, as Geb.
Yeah, I see a lot of people asking in chat and kind of wondering what's going on here. Elbro Chacho, the standard starter for Thirst in the support role, is not able to play today, and so subbing in will be Solit on that Geb there. So that's going to be the sub for the lineup here across the way. No sub for Cognitive Prime. We actually have 2 subs today so far. Zimstar subbed in for Trickstank, and then of course we have Solit here in place of Elbro Chacho. But as they get to start up here, we'll see if Cognitive Prime goes to skip the damage buff. It looks like they might.
Yeah, I would assume so. I mean, it seems to be the standard opening now. It seems like the teams have... I don't remember who started doing this in Smite Pro League, but ever since it was done, it's been the thing to do.
It started today in EU.
Was it?
Yes.
Well, it'll be interesting to know what the real synthesis of this strat was. I imagine that I mean, we've seen it happen before, right? But it hasn't become in vogue since today. But here it is starting off. Yeah, and they are indeed looking like they're set up to 3-man the right side camp. Go take the blue, and Andy will be looking for an orange a bit later here. As the minions spawn, ladies and gentlemen, we're officially underway. Cognitive Prime versus Thurst here in week 2 of the Smite Pro League.
Well, maybe the point where you want to start leeching more from mid than you do from solo. I mean, if you push toward the blue buff, take it, secure it, you're not in that awkward situation where you're defending the blue buff. You go and help the solo lane push it up. You can also play, like you were mentioning earlier, more mages in the solo lane, which generically don't pick up the Hand of the Gods. You don't have that double hog to clear the damage and then clear the blue buff. And you also can get to the mid lane faster to support them for early ganks, help push the wave, and then help get the damage buff earlier, which means you don't have to worry about the damage being stolen either. So it's actually a pretty decent strategy, and it seems like the math adds up to be almost exactly the same, except instead of stealing solo experience from the solo lane, you will steal it from the mid lane and spread it out around a little bit more evenly.
I do need to make a very important distinction here. It is not indeed Aphrodite that is on the Thirst logo. It is Nuwa.
It is Nuwa.
It's Nuwa.
I am so glad.
Very important that we make that distinction here. I'm lying. It's hell. It's actually hell. It's White Sands hell there. Wolfie, one of Wolfie's favorite gods, and whom he is most thirsty for.
Okay.
I know you were worried about that.
I was so worried. It is pouring through my voice now. And here we are. Back to the match. Cognitive Prime on the left side of the map. You're going to see them make their gun run here, trying to take something out here. Looking for damage on top of Nantan. Gonna find it. Forcing the shield out from the Geb. Minions will be cleared out on either side. Looks like there'll be no major minion wave to clear out, but Jeff Hinla jumping in for the damage. The damage, speaking of which, is going to be cleared out on the bottom side of the map here for Cog Prime. Is going to the pickup on MLC Stealth, who might hit 5. Actually, just barely before 5. Level 4 on Anister. Back heartbeats are available. Moving over to the movement speed buff is going to be Anister and MLC shortly here, I would imagine. Nope, MLC has to defend the lane. And of course, we saw actually Jeff Hinla and Barracuda run out of the lane to check the movement speed buff just in case, to make sure that if there's going to be a rotation from Wolfie, they're going to find it.
Taking a peek. Got to make sure that you keep that orange buff in line, especially ever so more important when it's Mercury, as he does get the damage out of it. But I mean, really, all the junglers really hurt unless they get this orange buff, inclusive of the magic junglers and Freya and I guess Fringe, Hebo, and things like that. But it's really helpful for Mercury.
It really is. Well, we haven't seen a damage kill first yet, and Mercury likes to get that early aggression out. We'll see who's going to be able to get that first blood going into this match. We see a double back from Thurst in the mid lane. Both Jaco Malfoy and Wolfie heading back to the home base. Let's see what we're going to go for. Jaco Malfoy going to rush out that boot strat early on, picking up the Purification Beads 1, actually. He's a little bit worried about the rotation from the Bacchus and also from the Mercury. The big AoE stun that MLC Stealth was going to pull out there would root him to the ground. Of course, would actually force them to fight in a very awkward position. So he wants to be able to prevent that at all costs. Across the way, we do have a strong solo push coming out from Omega.
A little bit of a different build here from Omega, that uncommon sash rush. It's not, we don't always see this.
It's not very common.
Yeah, often we'll see the lost artifact for the MP5 and then build the uncommon sash and then reach back for the Chronos Pendant if necessary, after pen boots or something like that being a more popular build for solo lane mages. But it looks like Omega just wants to get tanky right away here, similar to the style that you might see a Zhong Kui build in this lane.
Yeah, Zhong Kui definitely likes to get that extra early HP, which allows him to kind of stay alive and sit in the fight, and also just stand near minions and exercise his exposed evil. So allows him to just get pick up a lot of things here. Jacob Malfoy forced away the mid lane. Tornado on top of Stealth. Here taking a lot of damage. Nameless Ultimate on that slice. Dice going to rewind right through this one. Back into the Tornado. Nope. And back there he goes. Great gank there from Anister, forcing Jacob Malfoy to go into the fight. Surprisingly enough, Jacob Malfoy did not use his ultimate there. I mean, he got 3-man ganked and didn't ult. That's discipline.
Well, it's definitely map awareness, certainly giving him. Well, really not map awareness, just good reactions, just good game sense, just realizing when he needed to start bailing it. The trap did close, but not enough to actually find the kill. 4 minutes in here, and no real advantage to either team just yet. We got to check in over on the left side here, where it's Nantan versus Barracuda, and well, Nantan is dead out of mana, and Barracuda sitting at basically full mana and HP. Nantan doing the best he can to clear out the wave here, but he's going to need this blue buff to get secured. And if somehow Cognitive can find a way to aggress into this left side blue buff, it will make things very difficult for Nantan in this lane. Yeah,
it really will. Nantan's struggling here on the left side of the map, but we do on the right side of the map see Anister trying to steal away this movement speed buff, not going to find it. Can you? What? Why? See, I don't see it. You know, Fusion OP is currently the only professional player now who is still obsessed with Doomor. This is like a 2013 kind of thing. He still picks it up, and on a character like Habwa, no less. Now, Halbo is actually a decent character to pick it up on because he scales so aggressively, he might be able to overcome the damage. But here comes Jacob Malfoy getting jumped on here, looking for a little more damage. There goes Berg Ultimate. A major look will clear him out, entering his kill on Jaco, forcing him away. Fusion OP goes back to his tower, but a slow and poor rotation from Jaco nets him a death.
Well, the special delivery here for Mercury not going to be used. Still on cooldown to try to pick up Salit as well. And he will not actually aggress into that any further, will Andy. But can they find much farm on the back? They'll steal the right side blue buff. Left side blue buff has come up and not picked up yet by Nanton. Is there going to be a way that he's going to get that pick back up? The fight continuing on over here on the right side. Jeff Hinla taking a tremendous amount of damage there. Fusion OP ulting through, but now it's going to put him in an awkward situation. And can he get blown up by MLC Stealth? Going to need to hit another time rift. Not going to find it in time, and they cannot punish that Hubble ultimate into traffic. And Fusion OP will walk back happily behind his tower, but Cog wants to put some damage onto this right side tier 1, but can't really do too much with the threat of Wolfie still there with that speed buff. He can chase pretty much anyone down with the Geb shield on his back. So back goes Cog. Thurst answers their first blood with a kill of their own, and Jaco Malfoy and Self return to the mid lane to continue their farm.
Yeah, it seems to be working pretty well so far. We'll see if it actually starts to continue growing up here. I mean, look at the gold numbers. We're going to see a big lead here for Cognitive Prime. Now, they did get the first blood on the right side on Jaco Malfoy, but in response, they ended up losing the life of Jeff Hinla, which is a pretty damn good trade, I would say. So, you know, trading the mid-mage for your support is always a good value, as we do see it. But, you know, let's go ahead and compare players from either side, Thirst and Cognitive Gaming today. You know, definitely playing at a high level, realistically, but the Hunters make a big difference, right? Nanton now playing AMC here, 0.8 KDA, and AMC to boot, right? But you look at Barracuda.
That's not a point for.
That what?
That's a 4.0. What does that mean? There's a 4 sitting under his KDA,
Yeah.
and it's not 4/10 of a point. He has a 4 KDA right now.
Yes, he does. He certainly does. Actually, is that correct? Is the question. 4.0 for Mr. Barracuda. Yeah, it's right on 4, so it looks like that is updated. But I saw a 6.2 earlier today, but I guess that was an out-of-date graphic. It was played before that I'm losing my mind on. But back in the match here, you can see that Barracuda, the man we are talking about in question, is actually farming very effectively here. 4,000 gold to his name across the way. Nanton has 3,900, so about 100 gold behind on that AMC, but he's holding the lane down strong. We do see a rotation coming out from Anister and Hinla, knocking him up. Of course, there's the Serenade, buying time, looking for the hit. Damage coming out. Belly flop is there. Great Geb shield by from Solit. Looking for a rotation from Anister, goes into the jungle instead of back to his tower, knowing that Mercury was coming. So smart plays there, and Nimsult coming out onto Anderson, looking for Barracuda. Poppy goes over, can he get away in time? Up in the air he goes. The Stinger hits him in the butt, and he falls off his chariot to the ground to his death. And we'll see in the fight, though, looking for the kill on Sully. Great Geb shield, preventing the stun from the Chrono stun. Looking for a follow-up here. Can he find it? There goes the hit. Spirits, Tempest hitting too. Jaco Malfoy with perfect positioning there. Taking the damage. Jeff Hinla's falling down here. Nanton was the kill, but Jaco with a double on top to Cognitive Prime, making meat out of them, and now have a chance at Gold Fury.
Well, and they should be able to get it pretty easily. I mean, with the Hive going up there, it just gives Nanton a decent amount of attack speed to help aggress this early, similar to something that you would see from, well, let's hold the thought as Apollo is coming in, Mercury Ultimate ripping through in a lot of trouble now as the Major Look comes through, doing a lot of damage, crashing in now as Barracuda double kill just off the ultimate. Jaco Malfoy to fall as well, triple to Barracuda, and Wolfie in a lot of trouble, forced way back out of the tower. Major Look not going to find him, but a little bit too much hubris there from the boys of Thirst. They do get cleaned up with a triple kill going the way of Barracuda, and that is not where you want a big burst amount of farm to go to that Apollo. Barracuda cleans it up nicely there, and, well, Golden Experience is once again pretty much dead even.
Dead even. You know, it's a big win for Thirst to be able to go for that. They got the Gold Fury. Lost a little bit on the back end, of course. Not really the greatest feeling in the world, especially losing Jaco. But Jaco is going for a Warlock Sash, which can help out a lot. And it's goes for the movement speed of Steel, doesn't even get it, and gets bursted by Fusion. Now Stealth is in the fight here, trying to steal it away. I don't know why they're being so hyper-aggressive here. Nemesis ultimate on top of Stealth. He's got an ultimate available. He's going to rewind here, but he's going to go back into the movement speed buff here on the right side. Blinking into Soli. Rollout's coming through here. They need to find him, but they're going to go for a great stun. Gets CC immune on the rollout, though. Looking for the shockwave, but Kronos is way too fast.
Yeah, too fast for MLC Stealth, and he knew exactly where that was going to take him, and was very cognizant about where he needed to run, who needed to stun out there, and unfortunately he only hits the Geb, but it is enough to save his life, even though the Geb's able to shed that away with the rollout coming to CC immunity.
CC immunity, that's the big one. You know, and make sure that you have it. You know, of course, it ticked, like, he hit that threshold right where you've been rolling out long enough to get the CC immunity right when the stun was about to tick there. So, of course, it didn't stop his forward momentum. But did make a big difference. I mean, he's able to get very far away as the rotation did come out. Looking for another roll here on Jeff Henley to force him out. There's no gold Fury to take. The mid tower is pretty sturdy here for MLC. Across the way, Jayco's mid tower is on its last breath. Realistically, if Major Look could hit towers, Anderson could just drive by and kill it.
Yeah, if only could. But I mean, he could just run into it and dash back on the backside and it'd be
That's
perfectly
really
fine,
close.
or dash back on the front side hell if they wanted to.
ridiculous.
And it looks like they probably will just go chip it down. MLC Stealth going to pop a steroid, and 1, boop, 2, boop, 3, boop, 4, boop. 4 is enough. Down it goes, and they pick up that 500 gold and are happily to have it.
Well, Blink picked up here from Solite. They have a great initiation as well as defense there. Fusion OP going for the Blink as well. So Doom or Blink Habwa. That is the epitome of I want to kill dudes and I want to do it often.
Yeah.
Wolfie's going to look for Retribution here on Anderson. Now looking for a kill onto a Megatron. Megatron very tanky with that Warlock Sash Rush we saw him pick up early on. Checking on the left lane, we see that Nanton is pushed into a corner, but not really surprised. AMC has a troubled time pushing this wave up.
Yeah, and he's well doing these
damage.
He's living the life of a Muzenkob. You know, it's a very thin margin style of lane here. I mean, you gotta just kind of clear it out passively the best you can. Look to maintain your mana, get enough shots in with your death toll to get mana back in such a way that you can basically sustain yourself, and that's exactly what Nanton's doing. As you see, using the abilities to clear the wave and in-handing enough to get some HP and mana back, but will ultimately lose his tower to Barracuda at the 11-minute mark. Now he's going to be in trouble as he's going to get mezzed out. Here's Andy, punch, 2, 3, 4, and down he will go. Nanton, that's what we were worried about with this pick. It just requires such good map vision, awareness, as well as good game sense to know where you should be, when, and why is the B. So much more than some of these other hunters that have built-in escapes and CC like the Mercury.
Well, right now it seems to be the case for Thurst that they have to try and make some big plays here. Even though they were going to push it up here, Anderson going to the backside, looking for the ultimate. New Wolfie pops his in response. Anderson dashing away. The Geb Shield's going to be enough. Belted flopped. Intoxicate needs one more hit. But this is just a regular box. This is not the King Bacchus, so was unable to get that extra little business there. And so on the left side, yeah, well, wasn't welcome to Las Vegas.
Not just yet. Barracuda mezzing out Solite, and now looking for the final in-hand on the tower. Will get it. Finds a tier 2 on the back of the kill. No one checked Barracuda, and he happily takes a tier 2. That's a very early one. 12 minutes in. A tier 2 on the left side falling, which gives just so much room for Barracuda to do whatever he wants around this map. And it's on the side of the Gold Fury, which means that if there's a split push, or if Cognitive Prime right here should probably 4-man down the right side, force the issue, and have Barracuda split down the left and pressure the Phoenix, giving, well, a lot of trouble to Thirst with that.
It makes such a big difference when you have a teammate that's able to split push, right? I mean, look at the gold right now. He effectively doubled their lead just by doing that. And so it's hard on Thirst because they don't have a whole lot of members that can go anywhere. I mean, AMC's not good at rotating. He's a slow little bug. And you look at, Chronos, you look at Ao Guang, very slow as well. Habwa not too fast either. Nemesis can rotate pretty quick, and so could Geb, but those three members, they don't really have anyone that they can easily field on that side of the map.
Solite has DC'd here. I expect a pause coming out shortly from the boys of Thirst, and indeed the pause will be coming out here any second, guys. There it is, and looking around the map here, looking at the items, it's starting to really come together for Cognitive Prime. They have the Golden Bow finish, they have the Dev's Gloves up, plus the Balanced Blade for Barracuda. Their physical DPSers online. Sure. MLC Stealth working towards his stacking item on top of his pen boots, has his MP5 going with that rank 1 Rod of Tahuti. He's starting to get going. Jeff Hinless is nearing finishing off Sovereignty at about 900 gold here. All around the board, it's working for Team Dignitas. Now looking over the side of Thirst,
Cognitive
you
Prime.
have Nanton. Sorry?
Cognitive Prime.
What about them?
You said Dignitas.
Oh, I'm sorry, Cognitive Prime. Sorry, my in-game titles are messed up here. And Thirst is Nanton is still looking for that Balance Blade, about 500 gold off for catching up to Barracuda there. Wolfie's still trying to get his Jotun's Wrath online, right? I mean, they're a little bit behind. It's not much. It's about 4,000 gold, but those items being finished is why Cognitive's able to win these fights time over time.
Well, it started at the beginning, right? Let's take it back to First Blood. You saw Cognitive Prime get a very, very strong one with Anderson. It seemed like, Jacob Malfoy rotating over from the mid lane, looking over. But watch this ultimate from Anderson. He realizes, okay, throws out the major look and dashes away. This actually ended in another kill on Jeff Hinla towards the end of the fight. But that ultimate for Anderson came through the tornado, avoided the tornado hit, and instead of coming in for the punch itself, he backed off, threw the mage you look, and disengaged completely. And that was a beautiful play. I mean, it looked like Jacob was going to be able to survive until the ult went.
Well, it's a lot of what makes Mercury so powerful, is ability to have this very, very high damage ranged poke. that does physical damage and can crit. And so because it's so safe, he's able to do things like that, like exit the fight, poke his head back around the tower, throw out a damage, it crits, okay, great, I got a kill.
Right.
I go back, wait another 6 seconds, dash back in, maybe CC someone, punch, they try to run away, crit them again.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what is making him so potent, and that's what you saw just happen there, right? I mean, just a blind mage you look, picks up a kill, giving him first blood, and getting his snowball started.
Well, it's like that old Saturday morning cartoon kind of style, right? Someone's saying in the mid lane, and Merc is just like, zoop, 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 throwing out the mage you look and critting you left and right, and obviously your HP just going low. You're like, what is this thing that keeps running by and hitting me for 800 damage? I don't know what it is. It's a god, and it's hitting you. And that's kind of the power of Mercury. He's got that long-range poke. But looking across the way, I mean, Fusion has yet to die. And so he's 1-0-1. He's holding on to that Doom Orb. But the question is, and we haven't seen Doom Orb being prominent in the competitive scene for maybe 8.5, 9 months.
Except
it's
for
been
Fusion.
a long time. Except for Fusion, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a reason it went away. I mean, it does work on laning phase. If you play cautiously, it's one of those things that it works very well. It's actually one of the most. It's the cheapest magic item that you can get that gives you the most amount of damage for your buff.
Very similar to the Heartseeker
It
in
is.
that respect.
The downside, though, is that once you start to fall behind, you fall behind even more, right? It amplifies your lead and then worsens your loss. And that's the problem, right, is that once he gets that first death, if he's not able to stack it back up, he's going to get that second death. Not going to be able to stack it back up. Going to get that third death. And all of a sudden, he just doesn't have that damage, and it turns out to be not a useful item. But if he never dies, it's
That's
the best
amazing.
item he could have bought.
That's right. And the other thing about the Doom Orb that makes it such a risky item is that you're spending some amount of that gold right on the magical power and the ability to stack, but some of that's going to the MP5 that it grants you, and MP5 probably the least useful stat in the entire game.
Yeah, you need it until level 6, then you're like, wait, I have mana.
Even then, I mean, it's like it's significantly less effective than a pot.
Sure.
Right? And MP5 is just so bad. Like, you should never be buying items with MP5 in them, Smite. You get so much mana for leveling. Like, you gain so much static mana per level that by the time you're even level 3, 4, or 5, you can clear the wave and your Vampiric Shroud's going to provide you enough regen to continue fighting, and that MP5 is just a wasted stat at that point. And granted, I mean, this is why you see people picking up the Lost Artifact for the 5 MP5 or the Doom Orb for the 7, but as you mentioned, by the time you finish a Doom Orb, it's already past that 6-minute mark where you have plenty of mana to sustain yourself reasonably in a lane. It seems a little bit better just to pick up the Lost Artifact rank 1, not go into Doom Orb, and then come back and finish off Book of Thoth. We are back in game, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, in some trouble here, Solite as getting piled on by Cog. Jeff Hinla in the front line as Bacchus taking the fight to them, but it looks like Wolfie's rotation is going to be enough to save out the tank for now, but Wolfie getting stunned, taking some nice damage there by Endlessly Stealth, but is going to heal back quite a bit of it with his shield. So that does go down to the rotation for Barracuda. Snipe coming through from the soul lane, not finding anybody. Nanton in some trouble. Nanton to fall as well. Double kill for Barracuda now, and that's his second killing spree of the game.
Second killing spree. I mean, Nanton not having a good day today. 1-3-2 on AMC. And here's the problem with AMC, right? He can't do anything. I mean, he doesn't really have anywhere to go. There's double stun coming out from MLC. Look for the hit. Crushing wave takes out MLC. Look for the follow-up here. It's going to be Cognitive Prime. Looking for Fusion. Nope, he's going to dash into the mid lane here. He's got some distance. Made you look. Got to punch. He's just a punch once, punch twice. Made you look. There goes the hit. And he walks away. Apollo in trouble here. Barracuda pops Purification Beats. Pops the Serenade there. He knows he has teammates coming. Needs to buy some time. Now it's up to Tornado. There goes the belly prop from Jeff Inlet. Forcing away. Big ultimate comes. It's going to hit Barracuda in the face, but Barracuda's still standing here. The punch, the grab from Innocent. Wolfie dies as well. And Solite is so alone here as all his teammates are dead.
It's a delayed deicide, in fact, for Thurst. All 5 of them taking a spill. Nanton and Solite, the first 2 to respawn. And the fight's still going for Cog, enough that players can respawn from the earlier deaths. Mid-tier 2 is going to fall in favor of Cog as well. And as Jeff Hinla jumps out, Barracuda jumps in, mezzing 2. Long duration mez there. And, of course, at this level of play, they're not going to break it. Solite to fall as well. Will Nanton and he take a second spill? It looks likely. In fact, down he will go. And the official deicide coming out as Fusion comes up just a moment later. Cog is just pulling away with this one. 12 kills to 6, 9,000 gold at 15 minutes, and 12,500 experience. This is a Cognitive Prime, classic Cognitive Prime, snowball wrecking ball game.
Yeah, I mean, 8,800 gold and 12.6k experience at 15 minutes. I mean, it's a lot, right? I mean, they are getting a lot more than you expect them to have at this point in the game, and Thurst is really giving it to him. I mean, you've got a weak long lane, right? And it's self-evident. You just visually look at the long lane. There's no towers there. The Hunter's long lane tower on the side of Cognitive Prime is untouched. That thing is pristine. Yeah. And so you see the fact that that side of the map is completely conquered. It goes to show what AMC can really do in a competitive match. Now, it's not the worst character in the world. I mean, Hunter is a hunter is a hunter is a hunter. I mean, late game, Nonton's
Yeah, he's gonna hit like a truck.
He's gonna hurt. I mean, that's all you need. It's really just the laning phase that is the downside for AMC.
Well, if you hit the, take a look at the stats here, and you look down the tower damage column, you can see kind of just how dire it is. On the side of Cognitive Prime, 4,000, 1,000, 400, 250. On the side of Thurst, that's a lot of goose eggs.
Well, goose eggs are pretty expensive, but they are delectable. Dun-dun-dun-dun.
What?
Fire available. Looks like they're going to be starting up here. Barracuda poke this one down, and it's just going to start punching it down there. Serenade, of course, to give him a little bit of a protection boost while he is taking damage from that Fire Giant flaming boulder. You got some jump in from Soli. Got an ultimate available. Going to pop it early here. Fire Giant's not in range just yet. They're going to burst him down. Soli going to die to the damage from Omegatron's ultimate here. Now they're surrendering a little bit by MLC. Stealth stun comes out. There goes the hit. Barracuda's unstoppable. ×7. Looking for a kill on Fusion. He's going to find it as the question. Dashing forward is Jeff Hinla. Crushing wave. No water cannon to come out there. I'm going to try to find another kill of the fight. There goes So Beautiful,
Ouch.
and So Beautiful will strike down the wonderful Nonton. This right side tower is exposed here. Nowhere to go and nothing to get.
It's so beautiful it hurts.
Does hurt.
My favorite ability of all time.
It makes perfect sense, Bart. Relax.
He sings so good at you in a line that you take damage.
Well, that's it. That is it.
Well, here comes Apollo and Anderson in the front lines. They're going to heal up in that Omega heal ball, and Jeff Hinla looking to just take up just a few more times for that Fire Giant buff before he re-engages. He does have quite a bit of HP, plus the shell, plus the sovereignty at this point, which means they can take, he can probably take 6 or 7 shots from the Phoenix before he's going to go down, which means he can probably tank up 4, letting the team pile in. They're going to try to force out the rotation from Andenster here, as he takes a few Phoenix shots, actually way more than he should, unfortunately. And he will be able to take out that middle Phoenix, but it's going to leave their Mercury out of the fight, at least for a moment. No lifesteal on his side. Going to have to wait that Fire Giant buff. They're going to go in on a Barracuda here. Will Thurst at least ult him, but dashing away and popping sprint is Barracuda. He's actually going to take the skies here when they're trying to pile in. On to Jeff Hinla, crashing in now, getting the knockup onto Wolfie. Both Wolfie and Fusion quite low as the Major comes through as well on top of the So Beautiful. Now it's MLC Stealth trying to dive in, find the damage on the Nonton. Will miss as the beads do come out, but should find the final in-hand. No, it's going to go the way of Barracuda. Forget another killing spree in the double kill there. His third of the game now. And the Titan getting leased a few times with that full HP. It's not going to heal much. And Cog just looking to break on into that base and start chipping away at the Fire Giant. I'm sorry, at the Titan of Chaos here. Waiting for their wave to push in. And here it comes. And will Cog pile in right here, or will they go? Looks like they're actually going to gear up and go for this left side Phoenix instead.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing the safe play, right? Just tighten the noose, make it very difficult for Thurst to do anything. Looking for Jeff Hinla, not going to find it, trailing on the ground. And then slow down the healing from Omega, but not a whole lot here. Stealth standing on top of both the Tornado and the heal because reasons. And then you see Andis are kind of forcing them back into their base here. Whoa! Okay, Wolfie, welcome to Major Look. Taking about half his HP in one long-range punch.
Such a long-range punch. Gold Fury coming back online, but I can't imagine Cognitive being too worried about that. Deathbringer's up for both Barracuda and Andy, and Andy's building a short sword on top of that, so a lot of crit online for Mercury on top of his golden bow here. He's sitting at, let's take a look at his actual crit value here. It's a 40% chance to crit right now, and that's a lot of crit on a god like Mercury, who's hitting as hard as he will be at this stage in the game. Penetration boots is only pen, but with that much crit and physical power, it shouldn't matter. They will take a look at the Gold Fury here just to give themselves, well, just to take that off the board for Thirst, not give them really any hope of getting back into this one. And really at this point, if Cog decides to just pile in on to the Titan, there's not too much that Thirst can do about it.
Not too much Thurst can do about it, indeed. And we're looking at a very strong connection here between the early game push from Cognitive Prime and the lack of control from the laning phase for Thurst. And then, you know, once the laning phase ended, it didn't seem like they had a plan. They had never really grouped up, and now they're kind of under the overwhelming weight of the difference in gold between these two teams. And, you know, you look across the way, you know, you got Jacob Malfoy just finishing his third item. Wolfie's still working on his third item, including the boots. I mean, he just has a balance plate and Jotun's Wrath, and that's it. I mean, you can even see it in the active items. Just tier 1 Hand of the Gods. Ultimate coming up from Anderson, looking for big crit. Oh. Big crit is found. Nonton gets erased. So late forced back to the base. Can he get there in time is the question, or will he stand to defend? The Titan of Chaos is taking a lot of pressure here. 5 Cog Prime members are coming through. One more shot would have killed off Fusion, but it was out of range. Dashing away is Barracuda. There's no Phoenixes to defend here. Big crit from LLC. Gonna finish off Fusion. In the meantime, you see the Titan taking a lot of damage taken up by Jeff Vinla. You got the tornado on the ground. Will it be enough? The rewind comes out from Stealth. He will rewind back to the right side. Now they're still going into the well for more kills. Is this for fantasy points or is this for justice? Big damage onto Stealth, but Stealth will not be the determining factor here. It will be the Titan falling down, and Cognitive Prime finds their victory 21-7 over Thurst.
And, I mean, that one was in Cognitive's hands the whole time. They definitely looked like Look like kind of Cognitive evolve. We saw Dignitas looking like kind of, their old school Dignitas, and we saw Cognitive looking a little bit like that old school Cognitive.
Sure.
Will, the fat flip to the top again here, or will or not?
Well, we're looking at this kind of a little bit more directly, right? And just seeing the fact that across the board, you got a lot of gold, a lot of comfortable pushing. I mean, 2-0 and 12, very clearly Omega was able to win the solo lane. 10-1 and 8, very clearly. Actually, Barracuda, the most farm in this game.
He destroyed this game.
I mean, it's really difficult to see that. And you're going to see it. I mean, once you give a hunter like Apollo that much gold that early on, I mean, he got 2,000 gold for his team just because of the towers. But let's check out Barracuda in action here in the team fight as he tries to get a little bit more kill action going on. First kill, of course, going to double kill, going to triple kill. Up in the air he goes. He just respawned back up. But
this was so...
The death strike.
Yeah, this is really where Thurst just lost it. They finally make a play, but then they get blown up by the Mercury ultimate, and then Barracuda just cleans everyone up, crashing down, and finds himself an easy triple.
Yep. Instantaneously, right? I mean, that's all it is. It's just instantaneously. He lands, pops so beautiful, and starts throwing out the finger banging, and it's just a little bit too much for them. They just can't handle the overall damage that they're receiving at that point. And you look at it, and you just say, was it non-time 1-7-2 on AMC, not holding the lane? Was it in the solo lane? You see that Fusion was not able to hold it against Omega. Was it, Solite not able to rotate? Was it a lack of team synergy because they had a sub?
Mm-hmm. I mean, in this game in particular, it looked to be a little bit of every lane just getting behind. By the time that every lane got behind, they couldn't rotate around, and
right.
And even the Nemesis wasn't a threat. We saw multiple times the Nemesis ultimate coming out, and not often will you see the team turn and fight after Nemesis ultimate is used, and we did see that here. Cognitive just inching ahead, and at that one moment, we kind of looked down and we saw that they were basically finishing all their third items as Thirst were starting to build into them, and at that point, it realized that it was so tough. They took the gold for, or at least attempted to.
Right.
It got blown up, and down they went.
Well, let's look at the standings overall here as we do close out our third day, the second week of the Smite Pro League here, and we'll bring up the standings up on screen for you. North America, you got 5-1 is Cognitive Prime. Cognitive Red will be playing tomorrow and seeing if they can get that 5-1 as well. We do have in third place, Snipe is 3-3, and of course we do have Team Dignitas 2-4, able to find 2 wins. Actually, they're in fourth place right now. That's pretty darn good, coming off a 0-4 first week. You got 1-3 there for Thirst. Fat Chunks is 1-4. Thank you so much for hosting that up for us, Mr. Denton, and your wonderful tie. You look great today. But bringing back up at the European standings, Mortality Esports 4-1 in first place. Second place, Cloud9 Heartbreaks 4-2, SK 3-2, Exposed Secrets 2-2, 2-4 will be Team Solo Mid and Coast at the ever so painful 1-5.
Yeah, the overall last place team right now is they have lost 5 games to 1. The schedule for tomorrow, of course, starting Saturdays at noon Eastern Standard Time. That's 1800 CEST. It is Mortality Esports vs. SK opening the day, followed by Cloud9, HyperX, and Exposed Secrets. Then we go into the Fat Chunks versus Cognitive Red, and finally, ending the day, it'll be Team Dignitas going up against Thurst, who you just saw.
Well, that'll do it for us today here, guys, as we close out the schedule, we close out the standings, and we close out the third day. Of course, we are not done yet. We have 2 more days to go, and the question is, how are fantasy owners doing?
Well, we'll see. I have slipped from above all hi-rez, I think, this week, but we'll see if I can be redeemed this weekend. Gar's going to get me a lot of points, hopefully. But that's going to do it for us here, guys. We'll be back with you tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern here, and we hope to see you then with the opening of all of the festivities. 4 games tomorrow, just like every other day, but this time they're going to be in line, so definitely tune in for that if you can make it. If not, we hope to see you on the VODs or maybe again on Sunday. Thank you all for tuning in. For production, all of the players and the rest of you in Twitch chat, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time.